To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Are you gonna do this the whole time?
Probably.
The whole shit's gonna be like this?
Yeah.
Hi.
What's happening? I'm Pat.
Hi,
Nice
Pat.
to meet you.
Likewise.
This is my sidekick Dom. His parents just died in a freak circus accident.
What?
We're here in this great old barn in New Hampshire, and this is perfect habitat for a couple different species of bats. We're gonna kind of search around here and see if we can find any evidence of them roosting in this. The easiest to spot evidence of bats is their poop, which looks just like mouse poo.
But it has wings, right?
Nope, but if you crush it, it crumbles to dust because it's all dried insect parts. And it's shiny. Before we colonized New England, most bats roosted in trees under loose bark, but we've provided them with an even more ideal habitat: barns.
Bats love me.
That was awesome.
So this is a harp trap. It's a double layer harp trap. We have two of them put back to back, and it's got layers of monofilament line here that the bats will run into and fall down into the bags below where we just scoop them up. So they'll go through the first layer and then open up their wings and hit the second layer and fall down into the trap.
I mean, I can see it, and I'd still probably try to walk through this. So that's
How many screen doors have you walked through in your life, Pat?
too many to count.
Well then, you would be good for science.
This is peak emergence of the bats right now. They're all coming out of that barn and hitting the harp trap that we said earlier, and we're just grabbing them and identifying them.
Get him, Pat, get him.
Got one. So this is a big brown bat, and it was tagged as part of a study that these guys were doing here before. You can see the tag on its wing right like that. And I want to explain a little bit about bat anatomy on the wing. A bat's wing has the same bone structure as a human hand. That nub up top is their thumb, and each of those lines is a finger. All right, so we got a big brown bat, but they're catching a whole bunch of the other ones that we're looking for. So I'm just gonna let this guy go. Ready?
You still hearing Jimmy's voice?
Once a bat leaves for the night, it flies and feeds constantly without stopping to rest.
Yeah, there are two in mine.
Professionals like me can handle it. Juvenile, male.
Bats can eat up to their body weight in bugs every night. So most of the bats we've been catching are the big browns, which are not part of Nate's study. So this is actually a little brown. This is the first one I've grabbed. Everyone knows bats use echolocation, but their eyesight's actually pretty good. So here's what we're studying. The little brown bats. And Nate's research primarily focuses on white nose syndrome, and it's the survivors that we're looking for.
Wasn't white nose syndrome a big problem in the 80s?
Different problem. White nose syndrome is a fungal infection that causes bats to wake up during hibernation.
Really? I met a few survivors of white nose syndrome
Totally
myself.
different
Okay.
So Nate catches these bats, takes a bunch of measurements, and looks at their wings to see if they're damaged. If they have these white spots and some other tears and little marks on them, you can tell that they had white nose syndrome, and they're one of the lucky approximately 30% that survived it. Before white nose syndrome, little brown bats were one of the most common mammals in North America. Nate and his team are compiling a database of information on recovery rates of survivors and trying to determine the method of recovery. This information will not only help them combat white nose syndrome, but could have applications for human healing processes as well.
Science.
Exactly. When there's smoke and no fire, it's science.
That's right. Last night we caught some bats where they sleep, but today we're going to set a trap where we know they hunt. So we've just set this net up across the river, and we're going to come back tonight, raise it up, and then any bats that are flying along here, swooping down and eating bugs, we'll catch in there and be able to see what species live in this area.
Don't touch me. That's a rule. Another rule is pets not allowed to touch any of the equipment. So I'm using the bat detector to find where they are.
Alright. This is the mist net that we said earlier. It spans the entire length of the river. We've just hoisted it up, and now we wait until the bats show up.
Please don't do that.
We've already got a couple bats in the mist net. Check them out right up there.
Yes. You want to go on that side with them?
Go. It might be on that side.
Yeah, I think.
Hello. Hello.
This is one of the bats that we got out of the mist net.
Wait,
And
Pat, what is that?
it's a little brown bat.
No, what are you wearing?
My utility belt. I always wear this.
No, you don't. You're not Batman.
I
Is that a yo-yo?
it's needed. It's
Get-
equipment.
Get rid of the belt. Give me the yo-yo.
Anything about bats you need cleared up, Dom?
No, you pretty much covered everything except I'm a little concerned. We've been out here for 2 nights, and so how many of the bats gave me rabies tonight?
None of them gave you rabies because you weren't bitten by any of them, and none of them licked an open wound that you have.
You didn't see that part?
Rabies is a really serious disease, but the threat of it from bats is way overblown by the media.
What else do you know about bats?
I know that they are not flying mice. They're more closely related to whales and deer than they are to rats and mice.
Nobody on the internet believes that.
Everybody can Google it. Nate and his team's research is ongoing, but we can all help bats in our own way. Hey Dom, I just want you to get a close-up of this guy right here.
Who's Dom?